Here are the stories that we're tracking for you today. A pandemic resurgence fueled by the unvaccinated. For the first time since January, COVID-19 infections are trending up in all 50 states. And for the first time since May, the average of daily cases nationwide has topped 30,000. Health officials say it's clear that unvaccinated people are both driving the increase in cases across the country and are most at risk. Nearly all those hospitalized and dying of COVID are unvaccinated. According to the CDC, 12 states have still yet to fully vaccinate at least 40% of their residents. Florida, which is also lagging in vaccinations, leading the country in new infections. The Florida PAC for Governor Ron DeSantis, however, is currently selling merchandise that says, "Don't Fauci my Florida."
All leaders, political leaders, religious leaders, any type of leader right now should be doing everything in their power to empower their population to help reduce the spread of this disease by all reasonable means. And that should be the focus of all leaders. And when it's not, the outcome is more cases, more deaths, more suffering for the individual, for their family, for their communities, and for the economy.
For the first time, the NATO alliance is calling out China for cyber attacks. On Monday, the US, UK, and their allies formally blamed China for a broad array of, quote, malicious cyber activities. The group of nations said the Chinese government has been the mastermind behind a series of ransomware, data theft, and cyber espionage attacks, including the sprawling Microsoft Exchange hack earlier this year that compromised tens of thousands of computers around the world. The US Justice Department also announcing charges against 4 Chinese nationals who prosecutors said were working with the Chinese Ministry of State Security in a hacking campaign. The announcements highlight the ongoing and escalating cyber threat posed by China, even as the Biden administration and US allies have been consumed with trying to curb the ransomware threat posed by Russia. Toyota won't be airing any Olympic-themed ads on Japanese TV during the Tokyo Games, despite being one of the International Olympic Committee's biggest corporate sponsors. It's a remarkable move, highlighting just how polarizing the Summer Games have become in Japan as COVID-19 infections continue to surge. The carmaker has about 200 Toyota-affiliated athletes taking part in the Olympic and Paralympic Games. Toyota's chief communications officer says the company will continue to support its athletes. Negotiations resuming between Frito-Lay union workers and management. For over 2 weeks, hundreds of Frito-Lay workers have been on strike at a production plant in Topeka, Kansas that makes Fritos, Tostitos, Doritos, Cheetos, and Funyuns. Mandatory overtime and stagnant wages are among the hot-button issues workers want to see addressed. One employee told Vice many of the 850 workers at the facility say they work 84 hours a week with no days off. Some workers allege they haven't had a single day off in 5 months, and that multiple coworkers, driven to exhaustion, have died by suicide. You may have heard of the 4 imported fish species commonly labeled the Asian carp. The fish are known for wreaking havoc on the U.S. heartland, infesting the Great Lakes and numerous rivers. In light of recent anti-Asian hate crimes and racist violence, some government agencies are now looking to rename the fish. And it turns out, back in April, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service actually very quietly did this, changing its designation to invasive carp. 2 state senators in Minnesota actually won approval of a measure requiring that Minnesota agencies refer to the fish as invasive carp all the way back in 2014. Despite receiving backlash at the time from conservatives for the political correctness.